Hey guys, Senza here, and welcome to another Shadowlands Alpha video. In this video, we're going to go over the Warlock Covenant abilities. So the Warlock Covenant abilities are usually kind of dot-oriented, which kind of makes sense because Warlocks are usually associated with dots, especially the Affliction Warlock. But let's start with the Kyrian ability, Scouring Tithe. So this is a 40-second cooldown casted ability that does arcane damage instantly and then more damage over 18 seconds. And if the enemy dies with Scouring Tithe, then you will generate 5 soul shards. If they survive, then Scouring Tithe's cooldown is refreshed. So it's a pretty, decent extra dot. It's not that exciting, but for a warlock, especially affliction, it allows you to just have like a bunch of dots up. So let's go ahead and see what it looks like. Nothing too impressive. It does have an animation, but it's just another dot. And as you can see, depending on when you use it, you would definitely have to strategize the best times because you don't want to have too many soul shards. So ideally, you would want to time using up all your soul shards by the time either the enemy dies, or if you don't think they're going to die, then you know you don't need to go ahead and use them all up. But for the first ability, it's okay, but as it is right now, I probably wouldn't pick the Covenant for this ability. For Warlock Night Fae, we have Soul Rot. It's a 1 minute cooldown casted ability that allows you to put a dot on your target and up to 3 additional nearby targets for 8 seconds. And not only will it do damage for these 8 seconds, it'll also allow you to cast Drain Life on anybody that's been affected by the Soul Rot dot. So whenever you cast Drain Life, it'll also not consume any mana as well. So it allows you to basically use Drain Life on up to 4 total targets, not use mana, and you'll get health back from all 4. So that's a pretty strong healing, basically like self-healing cooldown that you can use. But it consumes 20% of your maximum health when you cast it. So you got to be careful not to use it when you're at too low health because you might not be able to actually heal up quick enough. So it's definitely something to keep in mind. But if used effectively, it'll allow you to get a bunch of health back. So let's go ahead and find a group here to use the soul rod on so you can kind of see what it looks like. So I'm just going to use corruption first to kind of pull them, and I would like to get as many people as I can, even though it can only have up to 4 targets. But some of these enemies are, kind of weak. So now we're going to go ahead and cast the Soul Rod ability. And it's kind of cool. I like the coloring, but as you see, it looks cool though. Having that drain life, I will say that having that drain life just stream from multiple people is really cool. And of course, the initial burst, though not much, is still a cool animation. I can't see myself picking a covenant solely for this ability, but if, other things are added to it, and if I really, end up wanting to just pick Night Fae in general, it is a kind of a cool, AoE survivability spell. Okay, so the Warlock Venthyr ability is Impending Catastrophe. This is an interesting 1 minute cooldown dot, basically. Well, not yeah, it's a dot, but it does more than that. So basically, it's you put a cloud of chaotic anima, goes to the target enemy, deals damage to all enemies in its path, and then when it reaches its target, it'll explode and put either Curse of Weakness or Curse of Tongues um, on them, and then it'll do extra damage to nearby enemies over 12 seconds. So let's just go ahead and use that now. You see what it looks like. It's a really cool animation. Really cool. And so you see he's got tongues. He's also got tongues. So, yeah, it doesn't seem to be smart casting because that other guy definitely was not a caster. Um, but it is really cool though. And being able to, just put those curses on is nice because, warlock curses are a thing again. But Yeah, if it probably doesn't unless it's just I don't know. We don't know how it's supposed to target, but if it is going to put the appropriate curse depending on whether they're melee or not just melee, but just physical or spell casting, because Curse of Weakness increases the time between their attacks by 20%, and then Curse of Tongues, um, I believe that's the one where it increases. Oh yeah, there it is. The time between casting spells. So obviously, if you use this on a physical damage dealer that doesn't cast spells, it won't do anything. Um, and I don't. Since it's spells, I think it has to be spells. So like if Curse of Weakness is on a caster, I don't think it will, slow their casting time down. Only the Curse of Tongues does. So this could potentially be a very good ability. I'm gonna try it out one more time. Um, if it, puts the appropriate curse on, and it looks so cool too. Yeah, see, he's got tongues. Now that one actually is a spellcaster. So, and that one is a spellcaster as well. But see, the sentry's not. So I feel like it's just doing one or the other. I don't know. But either way, it's really cool looking ability. Does damage, good dot. If it can apply the right Curse of Weakness or Curse of Tongues, then this could be a very, very good ability, and definitely one of the top ones to look at for Warlock. So the Warlock Necrolord ability is pretty cool. It's called Decimating Boat, and it has 45-second cooldown. It's basically a new range spell that will deal damage and increase the damage of your next three Drain Souls by 200% if you have the Drain Soul talent, or Shadow Bolt by 200%. Next three Shadow Bolts by 200% if you don't. But the cool thing about this is the damage of both the ability and your bonus that you get from your Drain Souls or Shadow Bolts increases as your target's health decreases. So you're going to get the most damage out of it when you use it at low health. So it gives warlocks particularly like affliction warlocks, a type of execute style spell. So you can still use it, and 45-second cooldown is not that bad, especially in a fight, like a boss fight. You're probably going to be using it on cooldown. Um, Another thing to note is that in order to get the full effect, um, you could potentially use Shadow Bolt because there's times when you're not going to fully drain, you're not going to fully use Drain Soul. But when it comes to the, numbers, it still might, Drain Soul might still end up being better, especially when you use it at low health because, Drain Soul already does 100% extra damage at, below 20% health. So imagine using that with the Decimating Bolt. You're getting a huge burst of damage, and Drain Soul is just doing a lot of extra damage. So let's go ahead and use that on this, and we'll see how it goes. It's pretty cool animation, Some of the effects, and you even have the orbs around you, so that's really cool. Sometimes I'm not impressed with the Necrolord visuals, but this one in particular, I think is really cool. And as you see, the orbs stay there, so they don't have a cooldown or anything. I can use it at any point in time. It's definitely nice damage. And like, if I have to stop it, I still keep, I mean, it uses that particular stack, but yeah, I can just wait as long as I want. Really nice. But again, like I said, there's times when you just stop like I did right there, and then you're gonna be missing out if you don't, channel for most of the time. But it's still gonna be, I think, better overall. So now I can do it again at that 20% health mark, and yeah, it's just gonna be massive damage. Yeah, look, 38-27 for that last tick. So I think it's definitely good, and it's definitely great for Affliction Warlocks using Drain Soul. You just have to be careful not to, clip it off too early while you have those stacks. And it's got a cool animation. The orbs are really cool. This is definitely one of my favorite, if not my favorite, um, Warlock abilities. It might be actually my favorite Warlock Covenant abilities. At least as a Affliction Warlock using Drain Soul. It's just great synergy for the spec. Well, those are all the Warlock Covenant abilities, at least the baseline ones. So, as we know, there will be soul binds that will be able to change them. So, that'll kind of determine which one that I would like to pick. But as it stands right now, I think the Necrolord one is my favorite one. But if you liked the video, please give a like and subscribe for future videos as I go through all the different Covenant abilities and more in Shadowlands Alpha. And as always, thanks for watching.